Yes, thank you for calling us in today because we did have some extra things we wanted to mention to you, which we hadn't before. And so we wanted to expand on this in this capacity so this could be shared publicly. We wanted you to be able to acknowledge and see your own growth. And we've mentioned to you before that you do not need to just count today to see how far you've come and what you have done, and not just this current week, and see what you have done and judge yourself on whether you have balanced things or not, or caught up with what. We know you're very busy with your minds and your schedules. And so sometimes you feel like you're not quite getting enough done from what you'd hoped. And so we want you to zoom out to not just this year and not just last year. We want you to be able to see your life as its entirety and see how much you have grown. And you can recall your earlier years when you were at school, and then all of your other experiences that led you up to being right here, right now. And this is a path that you can easily reflect on now, knowing that everything that you've had to endure along the pathway has constructed you right now. As we expressed about your ego and this being an organ, you may have different shaped organs from each other where you have strengths and weaknesses, where you're strong in some areas, but you still have growth in others. And it's a fine balance. And it's very hard to keep everything in balance when some things are not so easy to let go and release. And of course, you can do it all easily as you choose and as you're aware of these imbalances, shall we say. Of course, do not label things as good or bad, and even imbalancing seems like an injustice to you because you're always perfect. You're always experiencing things just as you should. And when you choose with your free will to expand and explore and grow, that will be perfect for you because you're prompted to do it. And so you're using your free will to get stuck. You're using your free will to grow. You're using your free will to take a different path and a different options, and you're allowed to do that. And this is your human experience, and you're very much in control of it, as much as sometimes you feel like you are not so in control of it. So, while we have said before, we want you to truly see your growth, and we understand you will notice your very fast growth within a space of a few months and years. You see that you have come tremendously fast and so far. And the purpose of our meeting and conversation with you today is to be able to ask you to see the growth in others. And while you may not physically see these people, maybe they suddenly just pop back into your life or pop back into your dreams. Do not give them the disservice of assuming that they're still the same people that you had connections with. And just like with people that you're living with and having daily interactions with and speak to often, sometimes we forget to allow to see the change in others and that to modify our own behavior. And so while you're very proud of yourself, as you should be with all of your growth, are you able to give people the same credit and be able to see them expanding? It may not be leaps and bounds, it may not be as fast as you. However, there always has to be growth of some description. So we really want you to just take the time to ponder, have you jumped into conversations with someone assuming that they're still the same? And have they also noticed your growth, and have they started seeing that you're changing? Sometimes with growth, there comes big changes of using your voice, speaking out for what you feel and believe, while respecting others. You may now have your own point of view that you're very comfortable with. You don't need to have arguments with people to share each other's feelings and thoughts. And every time humanity connects with each humanity and talks and shares thoughts and feelings, they must always be respected, ideally, right? And we understand that it is a right, a question mark, because it should be. However, unfortunately, things don't go to plan. And it would be marvelous if everyone could freely share their thoughts and feelings and have them be heard, have them be respected, and allowing each other to have the space. You don't have, shall we say, opinions of other people's haircuts and how they want to dress. You have to accept that this is how they want to portray themselves and display themselves to the world. And that is the same with people's opinions. We have to accept their way of approaching the world. And we must love them unconditionally, regardless of whatever belief systems they have. Other people's belief systems really do not impact on your own. And if your belief systems are impacting others, then there is a time for a very stern conversation about respect. And just because one person likes to go on holidays to the beach and the other person likes to go on holidays to the snow, doesn't mean that they're not valid holidays. And you can respect each other's holiday choices because you don't have to live them. And so we want you to be able to use an analogy when you're trying to not get flustered and triggered by people having very strong different opinions from you. You don't need to win every fight, but you do and you can respect people's respect, demand people's respect when you're sharing your feelings and you are sharing your opinions. And if the person that is talking to you, it does not give you that basic respect, then there is no need for you to connect with them. Use your boundaries, disengage with that person because that person is not respecting you profoundly. And this is part of loving yourself, is respecting yourself to not be treated with disrespect. And while this may be very hard for you to walk away from someone, hang up from someone, or distance yourself from someone, this is a strong message. This is a strong message to them that you will not tolerate how they have naturally been treating you. And this may be a symptom of them not seeing your own growth, not understanding your own growth, and they may be even triggered by your own growth. Because people who start speaking their voices, speaking their words, and speaking their truth is very scary for people who like to control others so they don't speak their truth, so they don't have a voice. And so, however, this is applying to you, we want you to think about these things and knowing that you are very loved and you should love yourself and always honor yourself and your feelings and your thoughts. And if other people are not doing the same, then it is time for you to put those boundaries up and find those people who are would be lovingly happy to listen to you and to share your thoughts and feelings and to honor them and respect them. This is a very simple, basic humanity need. Human connection is so important, and you don't have arguments over your favorite colors. Maybe you did when you were 5. And this is kind of the conversation we're wanting you to have. Some people cannot grow, so their conversation skills are not probably the most social and probably the most socially accepted, and they are very antisocial with their commentary and their judgments on others. And as you know, when you're judging other people, it's just a poor reflection on your low vibrations and energy and insecurities. So you do not need to judge others because you're too happy and too busy focusing on how pure heart you are, how much you have respected yourself, how much you have seen your own growth, and how you have seen the beauty and joy of all through an unconditional filter, shall we say, viewing everything as how it should be and everything having a purpose. Of course, this is the most ideal way to live. However, we understand in the 3D reality that is almost quite challenging. However, as you grow and as you strengthen and become more empowered with who you are and what you feel and what you believe, this will no longer be a worry for you to be triggered because you see the bigger picture. You trust everything's going to unfold as it should, and you know it, and you feel it profoundly. and you're not at that stage where you keep needing to seek proof for everything that pops into your mind. You're very balanced, and this is a very easy way to live, and probably the most appropriate way to live, because it's keeping your vibration high, and that is what most people achieve, and their goal. That is what most people hope and to achieve with goal setting and being able to see the bigger picture and to do all of their inner work. And so sometimes we just want to say it's hard to do your own inner work when there are people that are around you that haven't grown as much or haven't seen you grow. And so you're needing, for the people who are needing external acknowledgement, and you needing praise and attention from other people for the things that you do, this is a clear sign that you still need to do more inner work and love yourself profoundly. Because when you fully love yourself for who you are, it doesn't matter what other people think of you. It really doesn't. You are disconnected from it because you know your truth, you know your worth, you know your power, and it doesn't matter if someone doesn't see that. And it really is a reflection on where they're at. If they can't be seeing you for your pure heart, your pure integrity, and your approach, your positive approach to daily life, if people aren't able to see that around you, then that's a big reflection on how stuck they are at. And and it really is not a reflection on you at all. It is them mirroring their issues onto you. And no one who is feeling very low wants to have very high vibrational people around them, truly, because it makes them feel even more disconnected. And so from jealousy and frustration, they will try to bring you down to match their vibration, because they can't see how you've got that high so fast. And so this is a controlling little game that they play. But this is all fine, because these are beautiful lessons for you to grow from, and to be able to see that they're projecting their own issues onto you, and with love and compassion for them, you can be detached from that judgment, knowing it really does not belong onto you. And so we say to you that part of your own growth is to be able to see the growth in others and be able to love them and nurture them without feeling triggered by their own, shall we say, grumpiness or lack of insight into the growth and the expansions that you have been making. And when we say this, we understand that, of course, it's easy to say and easy for you to listen to, but a little bit harder for you to apply in your daily life. But once you start, you'll strengthen yourself so quickly, because you realize that you're fully in control of your life. You fully have all of the power of the people that you surround yourself with. And so once you realize that you are very in control, and there is really no excuses, and there is no blocks or limitations, only the ones that you put in front of you and what you believe you've been limited with. So we want to remind you of an analogy we used a while ago about a horse being broken in and living in a very small fenced field. And when you take away that fenced field, that horse feels very scared and afraid, because even though it hated being locked in such small confinements with such fierce boundaries, as soon as those boundaries are taken away and that horse is truly free to play, truly free to explore and roam and be free, it is very scary, because they're not used to all of this freedom, all these unlimited options that they can take. And so while it does feel a little bit strange to grow into your own power and to be free to do as you will, feel excited, because once you realize there is nothing to be afraid of and everything to get excited about, then you will start exploring more, knowing that this is perfectly fantastic for you, as you deserve to be free from any of the limitations you have put yourself on or other people have put on you. And so we're taking this metaphor and this analogy, and we're removing all of your blocks for you. We're removing all of the limits and the bounds and the boundaries of your physical and your mental. And we're taking those away from you, because they do not serve you anymore. And so when we've removed all of those, what would you like to do? And where would you like to go? And while we understand that you are somewhat still under lockdown and you cannot travel the world so freely, there is so much more that you can do that you have forgotten about, that you have enjoyed being able to do. So, again, stop with the limits, stop with the blocks, and find the things you can do. And really be serious about this. See the joy in all the things that are available to you. There is really nothing stopping you apart from your imagination and your passion and drive and motivation to do things for you. So we're wanting to say that keeping some older friends who you feel very loyal to because you've had such great history, if those are the sort of friends that are holding you back and limiting your own growth because they keep nudging your confidence, keep saying that you aren't the bigger beings, keep saying you can't have connections to higher dimensions, keep saying that what you believe is all nonsense, or just give you plain disrespect. Those older friends may not be serving you anymore. And what you learnt with that friendship, while beautiful and helpful and got you exactly where you are now, check if it's really serving you. Check if you're really serving them. It's very challenging to be able to see people so stuck and so triggered with new information that it is naturally causing a wedge. And while you don't have to sever the friendships, we say you can also seek and find the new friends that do have the same information, same that resonate with you for the same situations that are happening on this planet right now. And if it is finding a spiritual group, or if it is finding some spiritual books and being able to give yourself the food and the thoughts and the bigger connections to be able to understand what you're starting to realize. You have a very thirsty and a very strong thirst and desire to fill your intelligence cup because you're wanting to understand things so much more, and it's just wanting, it's never going to be fulfilled because there's so much that you can learn, and so it does get a little bit overwhelming. Where do you start? Where can you start? Which thread of a very big mass of information shall you start from? And so we don't want you to get too overwhelmed, but we also know that doing things with other like-minded people at the same vibration is such an easier path because there's encouragement there. You're not alone. And so many of you feel so alone because you feel like you are misunderstood. You feel like you aren't unable to, you feel you are unable to be able to share your feelings and share your thoughts with the loved ones and your close friends. And so this is very challenging for you to verbalize what you're feeling and what you're thinking about with this topic. And some of you have never ever uttered a single word about the information that you know from these sessions and from other things which you have explored, because it just, while it feels fine in your mind and in your heart, to start actually saying the words about what you feel and know is going to be a very big next step for you. And we want you to say that you can do this even when you're in the bathroom or the shower. You can speak to yourself. You won't be crazy, but you can actually start verbalizing what you feel is right and understanding and processing it. Just getting out this topic and all the topics that you know from these sessions and everything else, and just starting to have a conversation about it, even though it's just with yourself. It will just start getting out so much clearer in your mind how you feel and what you know is happening, and be able to discuss it freely without any blocks. And actually, you hearing yourself and confirming with words what you think and feel, that's going to be so much more better than having a conversation with someone who's just going to eye roll you and think you've joined a crazy cult or have lost your marbles. And so we want to give you this advice today because when you're speaking out loud, we are listening. And when you just freely flow and have conversation, um, notice that when you don't hear what you're saying and you don't hear of the results, you, especially when you start walking around the room, you'll actually notice a shift in your energy. And that is when we will start trying to come through and be able to actually know your conscious mind is not judging what you're saying, you're just talking out loud. And this is a good way for us to come in and start giving you the bigger information from us, what you need to know. And so practice this, go on walks, go somewhere where you can be in solitude and see what happens when you just start talking out loud. You may want to record it on a device so you can listen back to it, so you don't not focused on what you're actually saying, but just pay attention to how you're feeling. And this is something we would love for you all to do, regardless of whether you have many people you talk to about this or whether it's just yourself. It is completely fine to start practicing having these conversations, and being able to work out what you feel is true and what you know and what you feel. And these are all very valid things. And don't be shy. Don't be shy to own what you think and feel. Empower yourself, and be able to love what you know and feel. This is all part of recognizing who you are, recognizing your own growth, and honoring yourself with this. And you may have done this from time to time when, say, for example, dates had not turned out to be the dates of significance that you'd hoped for, and you had to really rethink everything that you know and try to apply it all. Or maybe you haven't. Maybe you have completely given up and you're not resonating with these informations because nothing that you feel has been proven to you and shown for you, and you're still needing that proof and confirmation for you to really care about what we're saying about any dates or any events. And that is completely fine. It's exactly perfect for you and what you're needing to go through and feel. And even if you want to talk to us and say you're frustrated with us because nothing has happened as we have said, then you will be able to get the sense from us what has been happening. And you want to know all this information and more. And sometimes when you're waiting for new videos, it is frustrating because you wanting the information faster. And maybe you're listening to the content and it's not the content that you're wanting. So you're hoping for something else that's really more in line with you. And we're saying to you every time you think that you have an opportunity to go within and start having conversations with us. And we really keep saying this because we really still want it to happen. Is that we really want you to have a moment with us, feel us, and think about us, ask us questions, write to us, let us write back to you with automatic writing. There are so many ways that we want to help you and guide you and reassure you, empower you, strengthen you, love you, support you, listen to you, respect you, everything. Everything and more we want to be able to help provide for you. So, thank you for listening to this, and thank you for going to start applying this, because sometimes we see you so exhausted and so drained from trying to cope with everything and everyone, that it depletes you more. And we are concerned for your high vibrations. We want everyone to have high vibrations. And so we're trying to give you guidance and support to be able to help you do that. And we really just want to keep reminding you that your high vibrations is so important. And it's your responsibility to keep your high vibrations continuing and to hold that energy for as long as you can. And knowing that things will come up from day to day, but you choose if you're going to let it bother you. You choose if you're going to let that plummet you and make you drop into fear. Remember, your choice, your free will, you're fully in charge and in control. You really are. You just sometimes have forgotten that. And we say this with so much love because we love you so much. And this is the reason why we keep telling you.